me, Rhea Peterson. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all things Crockpot. I don't know about you, but especially this fall, our schedule has been insane and we've just had back-to-back activities, no time to cook dinner. So I have been leaning heavily on my Crockpot, having at minimum 2 Crockpot meals a week to make things easier. So I have compiled some of those recipes to share with you, which I'm very excited for. They're really hearty, perfect for like those chilly fall days that are gonna fill my kids, help them get through their activities and sleep well at night, and we just love them. One of them is even meatless. They're all things that are really easy, that require minimal prep, and I'm really excited to share it with you. I have been, like I said, leaning heavily into the Crockpot, so I'm gonna keep sharing Crockpot recipes because they've basically been our lifeline these days. I hope that this interests you. I hope you get some good ideas. Let me know what your favorite Crockpot recipes are down in the comments. I love to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed. Continue to hang out. As I said, I'm gonna have more Crockpot recipes coming, but let's not waste any time. Let's get started.
Well, we are starting off with beef stroganoff, which was a staple in my house growing up. And the only 2 ingredients not shown here, I forgot to get the beef broth out, and I still needed to run to the store to get some egg noodles, but this one's really easy to put together. You don't have to saute anything or sear anything. You just need to chop up your vegetables and make your sauce and then get everything going in the crock pot. So we are going to get our onion, mushroom, and garlic all chopped up. I still need to clean the mushrooms here, but once we get those chopped up, we will move on to the sauce. Now that our vegetables are all chopped up, we are going to move on to making our sauce, which involves the flour, beef broth, and Worcestershire sauce. This one's a really simple recipe. I don't eat a lot of red meat, but I do like to incorporate it sparingly in the house. It is high in iron, and it is one that my family does like. But we do usually try to do more lean meats, and I always like to do non-meat options throughout the week as well, and I am including a non-meat recipe to share with you in this video, so don't worry. But now that our sauce is all mixed up, I'm just putting the beef here in the crock pot. I got the big thing of stew meat at Costco, and I'm only using half, and then I will label the other half and put it in the freezer for another time. But I'm just gonna salt and pepper this, paprika as well. I opted to measure with my heart here with these seasonings. But once this is done, we get the sauce in our vegetables, put it in the base of the crock pot, and get it cooking for the day. Well, this one cooks for about 7 to 8 hours on low. It really depends on your crock pot. This one runs kind of hot, so things are usually done a lot faster than expected. But I ran to the store. We opted to do egg noodles. This could also be great on rice or alone, but I would definitely serve it in a bowl. One thing I really love about doing it this way is the meat is just fall apart tender as opposed to cooking it up in a saute pan. But this one is really quick. You mix in the noodles. I opted to not pre-cook the noodles. I just mixed them in, let it sit for a little while. They cooked up really fast. And now I'm just adding in the sour cream, which makes it just creamy and delicious. This definitely took me back. My dad made stroganoff really regularly as a kid growing up, but once I get the sour cream all mixed in, we are going to serve it up. This one was risky. My kids had not tried stroganoff in a while. It was kind of a bust the last time I made it, but this time it was a winner. I've got it served here with just a little salad, very simple. I put a little bit of dried parsley on the top to make it pretty, but this one was really easy, really delicious. It kept well in the fridge for reheating, and most of all, my kids did like it. Moving on, we have Tuscan white bean soup, which is our meatless option. This one was a winner. Probably my personal favorite. Involves sun-dried tomatoes, coconut milk. I've got some old spinach, so this was a good opportunity to use that up. Diced tomatoes and white beans, and then our seasonings and stock. My kids are a bit picky, so we got creative with the name. Connor helped and even drew the picture Tuscan Raider soup, but it definitely worked to convince them. But we're gonna start off by getting our onion and garlic sauteed. This one you do have to cook a little bit. You could probably get away with not pre-sauteing things and just throwing everything in the crock pot, but I wanted to follow the instructions. So let's get our onions and garlic chopped up and get them in the fry pan to saute, and then we will make our sauce. Well, hopefully you will have better luck than I did getting all of the coconut milk out of the can, but we've got to use the blender here. We are making our sauce. The sauce is just the coconut milk, garlic, and then the sun-dried tomatoes. I opted to kind of measure with my heart with these two, but I've got the Italian seasoning here. We are just going to get this in the blender, mix it all up with the rest of our seasonings, and it will make this delicious creamy sauce to mix in. My kids do not like the sun-dried tomatoes on their own, so this is great because it mixes it in, so we still get that yummy flavor from it, but not necessarily the texture that my kids are not partial to. But I'm gonna get the sauce in the crock pot, add in our sauteed onion, and just keep mixing things in. We've got our beans and our tomatoes and our stock that we still need to get mixed in, and then we will put the noodles in closer to serving time. Don't worry, I did not forget about the spinach. That is the last thing you add before you eat it. But once we get it in the crock pot base, we are just gonna cook it on low for about 6 hours. And once that is like close to hitting that time, again, my crock pot moves fast, so it was not even close to like 5.5 hours. But I'm just adding a cup of rotini in here. I'm gonna let that sit in the crock pot. This only took like maybe 10 minutes for the rotini to get tender. It was really hot. My crock pot runs hot. But once the noodles were close to being done, I am going to add in my chopped spinach, and then it will be time to serve. As you can see, those noodles did not take long. And here is our spinach. I just chopped it up a little bit. You don't necessarily need to chop it, but I like to have just a little bit of smaller leaves. But we are just getting this served up in the bowl with a little bit of Parmesan. And then I got a loaf of sourdough bread. We toasted that up. This one my kids really, really liked. I'm sure Connor's creativity with the name was definitely a part of that, but This one was my favorite. It's that meatless option. I love the meatless options. This was delicious, and I'm definitely going to make it multiple times this fall. And also this next recipe, which was pumpkin chili. This one was so good.
So this one takes just a little bit of prep work, but it's really easy. I just need to chop up the onion and cook that with the ground turkey in a skillet, and then just throw everything else into the crock pot and then let it cook. It's gonna be really good.
Well, we've got our turkey and onion all cooked up. This one you could easily make meatless as well. Just add like another can of beans, and don't add the turkey, obviously. But now that everything's cooked up, I am just adding in the rest of our ingredients, the tomatoes, the pumpkin, also the beans. And it includes brown sugar and pumpkin pie spice, which gives it that delicious pumpkin chili flavor. It's not overpowering. I only added about a tablespoon, and then we've got our chili powder as well because duh, chili. You don't need to add any additional liquid to this one. I'm just going to get it all mixed in and get it started. This one takes the least amount of cooking time, only about 3 to 4 hours. Again, my crock pot runs high. I set it for 4, but really it was done in 3. And look at that, it looks delicious. And this one was so hearty, and it was another winner with my kids. Probably the bottom of the list, but they did like it. And we did it with Fritos, which helped convince them to eat it. And then just a dollop of sour cream. Really simple, really easy, so good. And for our final recipe this round, we have chicken enchiladas, which we did get creative with again, and Connor very nicely named bantha wraps, which again, I think helped with convincing them that it was worth a try, and it did work. But we've got our cheese, chicken, your typical enchilada ingredients, but don't worry, it does not involve pre-cooking the meat or anything and rolling stuff. This one just simplifies it. You still get that delicious enchilada flavor, but you can do it in the crock pot and still have enchiladas at the end of a busy day. But not surprising, we need to chop up our onion and get that sauteed. You still could get away with not sauteing the onion if you didn't want to or didn't have the time. But I was just following the instructions by the chef. So let's get this stuff chopped up, get it cooking, and we will actually add our seasonings into the sauteing onion. That is done cooking up, so we are going to get our enchilada sauce mixed in, our sour cream and rinsed beans, and you add just a little splash of water in there as well for a little bit more liquid. But once we get this sauce all mixed up, we're going to add our chicken and get it cooking. Well, you may have noticed I did not use the tortillas or cheese yet. Those are added at the end. We're just gonna let this cook on low for about 6.5 to 7 hours, depending on your crock pot again. But once the cooking time is done, we just wanna shred up our chicken, and then I am going to cut the tortillas into strips, lay them on the top, and add some cheese. We will put the lid back on, let everything get all melty and delicious, and then get it served up. Well, here it is all melty. This one was really good. My kids really liked the tortilla strips on the top. My son said it was like a really good quesadilla, but we served it on rice. I've got some cilantro, avocado, a little bit of sour cream, and a squeeze of lime. This one was really, really good. My kids liked it, which again was always a risk, and these meals paid off. Everything was really hearty, really easy, really delicious, and turned out great. I hope this gave you some ideas. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Let me know down in the comments which recipes you are going to try, or if you have any favorites, let me know. I am always looking for ideas, but most of all, I hope you are doing well. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. We can continue to hang out. I will be bringing way more ideas with Crockpot recipes. Again, I make them 2 times a week, so we make them a lot, but I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. Bye.